So the past month I've been working on this blanket chest for my mom, which I'm sitting on. And whenever I'm working on a project that takes this long, I like to sprinkle in some smaller projects to kind of keep my sanity. Otherwise, I like lose it because, you don't see a finished project or product until like much later, and it just, I don't know. It's a nice way to keep things like spicy. So I had a marquetry panel that I made a while ago for a friend. I'll put it up here. And the purpose of this was to go into a final project. And I milled up some box parts and started making a box a while ago. And I figured, what the hell? I'll finish this up and make this thing into a box. And so I took that panel and put it on a substrate, and that was going to be the bottom of the box. And I took it over to my drum sander to finish it up, and that happened. And so yeah, that was really, really cool. Really happy that that happened. Really reacted appropriately to that one for sure. And so I was like, you know what, whatever. I'll make a different bottom for this box. I made a different bottom out of black walnut. I still had the box all ready to go. I had this beautiful piece of Bandsaw walnut for it, and I glued it up, and the dovetails are really nice. And I took it over to the bandsaw to saw the top off, and I sawed it at the exact wrong spot. So that was really, really cool way to spend my weekend woodworking. Love all of that. So I share that for two reasons. The first is I want to be honest when I share things on here, and when I mess up, I want to show it, and I mess up a lot, so you're going to see that a lot. The second is I want to show you what I'm going to do with these. Normally I would throw these out. When the box snafu happened, my friend Alex was here, and he was trying to give me ideas on how to do it, and I was like, no, I'm done. I was in a really not very happy mood, and just like kind of walked away from it. But I want to show you what I'm going to do with these. This panel, I'm going to try and salvage the portion of this that isn't sanded through. You can see there it's sanded through, but the rest is not. I'm going to cut this into kind of an oval, and Jeff Lefkowitz actually shared some pine needle basket work that he did recently, and I'll share that up here and in the notes. And I'm going to try and do something like that as a collaboration with my wife, because she does pine needle baskets. For this, I'm going to go back over to the bandsaw right now and show you what I'm going to do with this to take it home. So it's pretty easy to see how I screwed up here. I intentionally had left this portion, or this pin rather, extra wide, because I knew I had to take into account the bandsaw curve there. I should have cut along this line here, but instead I cut right in the middle of that top tail there like an idiot. Let this be a lesson to you to take the time to mark things up, because it doesn't matter how much time you spend getting beautiful veneer prepared and cutting perfect dovetails. If you screw it up at the bandsaw, your project's ruined. So make sure to do that. Is it fair to blame the Laguna? No. Am I gonna blame the Laguna? Absolutely. This wouldn't have happened if I had a bandsaw that had a really nice fence that could slide back and forth and maybe have a micro adjust, because in that case I wouldn't have come over here, set the thing, and just wanted to get it done, because I can't stand the fence on this thing. If only there were a company that made... Anyway, I'm rambling. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this in the proper location. So with that top off, what I have is this. Now I could keep this lid for whatever, I don't know. Alex suggested that I slip in just veneer right here and, call it a feature sheet of brass or something like that. And I could just continue on with what I was gonna do. I'm probably not gonna do that. I'll probably just hang this on the wall or something like that, because it's pretty, and I don't know, I can fill that in. Maybe I'll do what he said and just make this a wall hanger. But this, I could plane the top here and just have this be like a little tray that I just throw crap in, call it a day. Or I could line the inside of this with some mitered joints on the edges by using a mitered shooting plane. I go over that in my book, and I'll show an example of where I've done that in the past up here. And then I could just have a free floating lid that would sit on top of that liner as long as I leave it a little bit below this top edge. And those are just two things I could do with this to keep it going. I'm probably just gonna plane the top edge and, I don't know, maybe shape this a little bit and, I don't know, make it look prettier, and I don't know, just take it home so that way I say I got something done. Anyway, just wanted to show that, you know, even though I screwed up, there are options here, and I don't need to, you know, go walk off into the sunset because of a screw up.